Hello, we are live. Our second edition or installment of Shamanic Journeys, which is something I wanted to get into a little bit more and a little bit more regularly. However, I've kind of went through a transition and a move, so now I'm able to kind of settle in a little bit and we can start. Basically what this show is about is kind of enlightening everyone on what, bringing on people with that come from different backgrounds and that kind of spiritual.
Different belief systems.
Yeah.
We want to hopefully open your mind to the understanding of what being psychic means, what shaman means, spirituality in general. We have our minds open to everything and respect all people's views, but this is kind of what helps us.
So this is our opinion. This is the way I look at it, and the people that I bring on the show. Today it's my daughter, Mikkel Fowler, or also known on Facebook as Indigo Goddess Kel. You can check her out. She's been doing some live readings lately, so I'm excited that she's doing that. She's using her gifts. So these shows are basically just to kind of help you with your awareness. So if you're out there and you're psychic and you're doing this, you're doing that work every day, or you want to expand on the knowledge you already have, just from a different perspective, or maybe some confirmations. So that's kind of what we're doing. So today we're going to talk about the collective consciousness, which is all of us, right? We all have we live in our own world, but then we have that collective world that we live in too. And it's important we pay attention to that, because I think that's what's being manipulated the most. I mean, of course, in everyday life, we can get manipulated by others, whether that be family or friends or frenemies or enemies. I mean, but I think it's kind of going on everywhere, and it's really ramping up on the world scale right now. So, and it has been. I mean, I think it's been going on for thousands of years, probably more. I think right now we're at this place of enlightenment, this place of ascension, where we're all starting to see things, because of technology, because of brave and courageous people that are willing to get some of this information out to us, the witnesses or the whistleblowers. Because this is all coming out, it's scaring the people that are actually committing some of these atrocities or all these atrocities. And so there's a lot more like this counterintelligence coming out, because that's what we're in a war of information. So there's counter information coming out to try to cover a lot of it up. And it's really, they like to double down. People in power that hold a lot of power do not want to let that power go. Even good people can be tempted by that, and can be, it's kind of like that Lord of the Rings, right? Lord of the Rings. What's his name? Frodo.
I honestly haven't
You've seen
Lord.
She's seen Lord of the Rings.
No, I
She
haven't.
probably doesn't remember.
Long time ago.
But there's a ring, right? And that ring makes you really greedy. You really want that ring, and that's really kind of how power works. I mean, that was probably the spiritual aspect of that, and that's what I took from it. And that's happening in real time, and it's very sophisticated counterintelligence being directed at the masses.
And who we're talking about specifically is like the government. Like, let's be real here. We're talking about
it's the government.
Presidents, right? Because they're having control over us right now. They're the ones who are telling us, you can't. Okay, so you're like the whole quarantine. Like, we have to stay in our house, whether you're sick or not. I mean, now it's getting a little bit easier, but like Chicago, they're on a 100% lockdown. They can't leave the house at all. If they go to, and if they do for some reason, if there are any businesses open, like essential businesses, they have to wear a mask. We've seen videos of people getting taken down because they've decided under their own free will that they're not going to wear a mask.
Or they had an alternative view of things. This was experts. So this is some of those powers at play. I'm not going to say there isn't a virus. I don't even like saying that word right now, because on YouTube, there's certain triggers that go off in the AI. So I think you all know what we're talking about. But it's not just this. This is one event. There's many. Social engineering is real. People that have the power and wield the power to run the media or control the media stations, or basically, which I think there's like 6 right now. I mean, that's a monopoly. It's, that's everybody. A small group controlling the information for everybody else.
There was a video. I'm just going to mention this. There's a video that we saw someone recording them staging a protest. So they were recording someone.
They weren't staging the protest. They were actually causing problems and causing chaos by breaking out windows and starting fires.
Well, that
From
too,
what I've
but
seen,
I saw one of a guy walking in front of a car and then putting a sign up, and then once they cut the video, then he just like walked off and the car left. It was like a staged, like they're acting like, I don't know, they're controlling like the news and mainstream news and the media. Be careful with what you see and do your own research, because if you're not careful, like living in fear is the worst thing for your immune system when it comes down to it.
Yeah, Queen Star Sophia says they think they will cause more separation, but in the end, we will come together. And I feel that's true, but how quickly? I see a lot of people that I felt and respected that are very strong, family members, friends, that just took that, initial statement and just that fear and all that fear that was being pushed at us, right? And it still is. It's kind of backing it off now. But, these are events. I mean, a lot of these things are staged. They're set up. They're planned. I'm not saying this is planned, but I am saying that there already has been proof of this happening. So we want to be careful and just be aware of it. Just be aware of it, because if we're aware of it, we know not to buy into it completely. Of course, if there's something important that comes out on the news, we want to look into it. We want to make sure that we have the best knowledge about it, or the best, we're finding out the information ourselves and not just taking it from one news source that we wake up in the morning and watch, or that we watch at 5 o'clock.
Reality TV shows, for example. A lot of those, like the dating shows and stuff like that, I woke up to it when I was watching. It was like some one of those shows where there's like a group of girls and a group of guys, and they come together and like see if they can find love. And I remember watching like a little side view of it, and everybody's has like makeup on. There's like these like shining lights on them, and they have like a little crowd watching them. And also like on YouTube, I watched a few. This is a better example. Sorry. I watched a few people that did vlogs that were like real life vlogs, right? There's these two girls, and they have these two boyfriends that I could just tell just by like my own intuition that they're probably not in a relationship, but these two girls are twins, right? And they have this house, like basically they set up their own life. Like they fake their whole life so that people that are watching think that that's real. Now we are all mostly aware of this with the whole social media thing. For a long time, people like younger kids were killing themselves because they didn't feel like they're good enough because of what they're seeing on social media. Now, remember, like a lot of this is staged and set up. Nobody is perfect.
So what you're getting at is they're putting out, I think what you're trying to get at, what I understand it, is you're putting out what they are, right? They're like advertising, right? They're pushing it out. Which advertising? It's
their
necessary
idea
for a company.
of skinny, or their idea of beautiful, their idea of
right. What's
cool and what's not.
What you should strive to. We've all kind of fallen to this. I mean, it's very sophisticated, and it's going on a lot right now. I mean, there's a lot of covering up. We're trying to sweep under the rug, or let's let them pay attention to this so they totally forget about this. And as long as you're aware of that, I think we have the ability to change. I think we have the ability to make big changes. I think it's happening right now. You can see it. I mean, me and her, Michaela are able to get on YouTube right now in front of a camera and talk to people that want to watch. And this will continue to, stay on my YouTube channel, and people can come to it and watch. And hopefully it finds the right people. But I think it's important for the collective, especially the spiritual collective, especially those light workers out there. We talk about a lot of things that happen to change the system and tear one down and build another one up. Yet when it comes down to it, a lot of us jump right to that system. And it happens to all of us. Like we believe it right away. Like if something comes out, we fall, hook, line, and sinker. If it's, and it's important to just.
And then you lose yourself.
Take that first story that they're really, oh my gosh, train wreck, or, something going on, and they're really trying to get that emotion out of you. They're trying to get that fear going in you, that adrenaline and that fear going, because we make bad mistakes or bad decisions in that, fight or flight state. We're not able to logically break things down, and we make rash movements. And I think that's kind of what's going on right now. Whether this is just kind of by accident, which I don't think, but let's just say it's by accident, or kind of an effect of something that's already been, the cause of something, an effect. It's still causing people to do irrational things.
Like what?
The riots that are going on right now. I think it's important to protest. If you're peacefully protesting, that's a good thing, right? It's using your voice and standing up and marching for something important, police brutality or police murder by a police officer in this case. However, we've got to wait and watch how things come out, because all we're seeing is small little clips of things and we make a judgment at it. I'm not defending. So there's plenty of that going on. But I do have family members that are police officers. I have a couple of family members that are police officers. We're in law enforcement. And they're good people, right? They're not that type of people, where it looks like they're trying to create this separation, this, like she was saying, like Queen Star was saying, that they're trying to create this separation. What I fear, or what I'm concerned with, I shouldn't say what I fear, is that the cause leads to kind of a civil unrest between all of us, right? Between race, between religion, between color, which is what's going on already, but is really being ramped up the way it's being reported, just like the virus. The way that was being reported as well was just scared. Like, people are scared to death.
And guess what that's causing? Sorry to interrupt, but I want to make a point. Yeah. It's causing people to, like, for example, this is just what I've seen. I personally am not a mask wearer, but it's causing those that are, in my experience, that are like looking down or shunning those who decide not to wear a mask. Let's remember, like speaking on the topic of collective consciousness, like, if you want to get deep with it, like, if you close your eyes for a second and you try not to feel physically with what is around you, and you feel with just strictly spirit, you'll feel that, like, we are all connected. We're all made of the same thing. Like, when we came down here, we were broke up. My dad taught me this. We were broke up into fractals, and I personally believe this myself as well. We all have our own little spirit and our own little personality to us, but at the end of the day, like, we're all one essence. We're all one thing. We're all one people. We're all one race. We're all one energy. And together, when we are together and we do love each other and we do accept each other unconditionally, guess what? We're powerful. That's right. And the government, or whoever, I want to be careful with what I'm saying, but you can say the government. It's not just the government. People that have control over us or have say in what we see and what we do. The power to, yes. They have control over that. And, like, I don't know, I feel like basically, like, it's really important to remember that, like, connection is important, and to fear something that you might not even know is true or not, just live your life is, like, what I'm trying to say. And it's really important that right now, in these times especially, because a lot of people have lost their jobs, a lot of people have gone through things, like, because they're stuck in the house, a lot of domestic violence is going up, suicide rates, abuse is going up, and depression, anxiety, all that stuff. And that will bring me to my next point. But first I want to say is, try to, like, reach out to people and see, like, how people are doing. Like, if you have the chance to do that, we have social media. Connect with your neighbors. Connect with the people around you that you don't know. I think it's important that we share information with each other. Even that way, I mean, online is a great way to do it. As long as we're sharing information that's not meant to be targeted at the people, as, because that's how it comes in. It comes in, information can come through that, really bad information. Can come through as very mild and or very, like, patriotic, or very the Crusaders. We're going to stop these evil people, and that's being manipulated too. So we got to be really careful, and, like she said, use our inner self, use our inner wisdom, our higher self, that higher wisdom that we have within, but also take the time to look into things. Take the time to do a little research. If something scares you, face it, go at it, especially something online with information. So there's a lot of information out there. I mean, there's people that won't even get on some of these social networks because they're afraid. I think some of it's, like, hilarious. Some of it is just garbage. I mean, and it's gotten so far to that extreme that it's almost blatant. If you pay attention, you'll know it's BS, right? And a way to know, a little tip with, like, we're all psychic, okay? We all have a strong intuition. Different religions call it different things, or different people. It's all one thing, but to know that it's your intuition, to trust your own gut. So, like, if you have an idea of something or you're questioning something, if you have anxiety about it, chances are that's fear. If it sits with you and it sits, like, well with you, it's more than likely your intuition. So if something is giving you anxiety or stress or fear, question it a little bit more and try to find your own truth. Like my dad's saying, don't just go to one website to do your research. Try to find different opinions and different views, and respect all different opinions and different views, but find your own. Like, find your own truth.
And I think it's because a lot of it is, it's really easy to believe some of these people because they do have backgrounds of, academia, or, they have a lot of experience in their fields. Doctors, journalists, news presenters, which would be the newscasters, right? The ones you see on TV. They're pretty. Everything's perfect, right? So of course they're telling the
But
truth.
even the stuff that they're saying is censored too. Like, even they have a boss.
Well,
even they're being
and it's not even as much. They're saying no, you don't get to report that.
Like getting demonetized.
It has a chain of command. It goes through different steps before a story actually gets to the public. But yes, there are certain things that are being suppressed. I mean, there's a lot of death going on in Africa and in the Middle East right now that if we even realized, most of us, it makes you sick to your stomach. Constantly thinking about it. I do feel for them. I feel for the people that are suffering here, especially right now. For everybody, though. It's not just because, you were born in the same space I was, so we're okay. Or you learned something different growing up. I learned some bad habits. I learned some good habits. They learned some bad habits. They learned some good habits. So, really, it's important to kind of look at that perspective from everything. Look at the whole world, right? Let's don't go to the universe yet. Let's just think the world. Just because it's our country here in America, right, or Canada, or Mexico, wherever you are in the world, that doesn't make another country, because another country's leaders have made poor decisions, doesn't make that, that the people of that country any different from me or you or her. It's important to keep that perspective, because right now things are being really ramped up. They are going to get weirder. They're really doubling down, trying to keep everything covered up that they don't want seen, or muddying the waters of what's already being seen, and they can't stop it. So they try to lead you in one direction, so you're just really not paying attention to what's important, which is really greedy people, greedy force, taking advantage of humanity. So I think it's important that we see, let's don't worry about right or left or whatever political party. That doesn't matter anymore. That's pretty much, it can be completely obsolete if you want it to be, but we have to do this peacefully and use our head. Of course, use our heart. That's where it starts. That's what gives us the spirit, but we need to use our head too. We can't just be led in blindly. We need to all be able to independently kind of discern the information that's coming at us, because it's coming at us fast and it's still going to continue to come. And there's a lot of good information, but there's a lot more bad information out there. So we need to be really careful of what we're consuming and what we're tending to take action because of that information and getting that information. So for those out there in the protests, those that are peaceful, those that aren't trying to cause chaos, and even those that are, I'm sending you my love. I'm sending you that positive energy that we can do this the right way. We can do this in a way that shows a good example to humanity, that we can be smart. And we can do this if we stand up together. And we will. We are uniting right now. It's happening. But my concern is, how long is that going to take before we hit that critical mass and we can actually make big changes, which you could argue that a lot of that's already happening, because I've seen a lot of movement in a good direction, but I do see that adversary pushing back. So we need to be careful not to fall back asleep, basically. If I were you, I would turn off your TVs. Enough of the TV.
It's a portal. It keeps you stuck.
There's not all things are true on the internet either, but I'm finding a lot better information from people that are just turning on their camera and talking and have done some research. And they've ended up doing it, over the last few years, and they've got really good at it.
Shout out to the Last American Vagabond.
Shout out to the Last American Vagabond. Let's see. Shout out to Whitney Webb. Who else? Good shout out.
Whitney Webb is a journalist.
If you want news that people actually, they're going to give you the real news, but they're going to give you an alternative that may piss you off. Probably will. It'll piss you off. You may not agree. But I think it's important to have alternative views. That's what part of being a psychic is, or being, being sensitive and being intuitive and being able to have that foresight and that vision is seeing all angles and all curves, right? Seeing all of them, trying to see as many as possible, and then informing a decision about it and what action you're going to take or you're not going to take. So that's what this shamanic journeys is about. So if you guys have any questions, please ask. Oh, it looks like there are. Yeah, Norma Perez says people are scared to think for themselves. That's right. That's right. I think, I've seen people terrified, and it pisses me off because I know it's not necessary. It doesn't piss me off that they don't piss me off, but the people that are relaying information to them on a mass scale, mass media, they were putting it out like we were in some zombie apocalypse. This is just one instance. You can go back and you can look at other things. They sensationalize things. It's a good way to explain it. But it's to the extreme now. It's really starting to be used for political purposes, for our hatred, to try to get consent from us to act poorly to other countries or evil. And that's what's going on. And it's not just our country in America, it's all over the world. That's why there's so many protests going on.
So on that, people are scared to think for themselves. I think that can tie in with ego. Ego can get in the way of a lot of things that we believe are right. Like I said, with the intuition thing, if it's sitting with you that it's right, it's more than likely right. And that's just like even on a smaller scale, like when you're in school and you have an opinion and someone else tells you that you're wrong. Say you believe that you're wrong because they tell you you're wrong. It's almost like what the media is trying to do to you. But don't be afraid to speak up. Just because I'm just going to use the mask thing as an example again. Even if you're not doing a lot of research on it, because you know someone who knows someone who knows someone who had this or had that, do your own research and don't be afraid to, if you don't want to wear a mask because it's hot, don't wear a mask. If you want to wear something specific because you like it, then do it. It's really important right now before you connect with other people, try to connect with yourself. Try to figure out what you like, what you enjoy, especially in this time. Do something that you're passionate about at least once a day, because that'll help you love yourself a little bit more, and then you can give that love back to other people. And say that you're walking down the street or you're in the store and you see someone who is really angry and they approach you and they just start being so rude to you. Try to understand that maybe they're having a bad day and just smile at them and just talk to them nicely, and use that in anything in your life. Try to understand where other people are coming from, and try to understand that we're all struggling right now and we all deal with it in different ways.
And I think it's important, just the spiritualists, most of all, all of us, but really whoever's watching this, I hope you take something from this that can help you kind of gain more clarity for the world around you and what's going on. Because yes, it's important for what's going on in your life, but you need to understand all of what's going on around us. We're feeling that because we're all connected. We're connected to that. So this disharmony in our life, part of that is being caused. Yes, we started a lot of time, but we're also picking up on a lot of that pain that's coming through and that misery.
And if you don't believe it, think about when you're in the room with someone else or a crowd of people, right? And someone that you're close with is frustrated, and you can feel that. You can feel their anger. That shows how strong energy is. So think about the whole collective, right? A lot of people are in fear right now. So guess what? Even if you don't know what's going on right now, you're going to feel that fear, because naturally that's just what your body does. Yep. And like you were saying earlier, you might act out in different ways. So it is important to understand that when you're feeling something that you might not understand where it's coming from, that it could be from someone else. It could be from other people's struggles. That's why I like to say that we all have gifts of psychic intuition. I've happened to practice mine a little bit more throughout my life, so I'm able to guide other people. But there's a lot of people who have lived their life by what society is telling you the way to do it. Go to school till you're 18. You have to go to college. You have to get married. You have to have kids. Then what? You work, you come home, you sleep, you do it again the next day. How is that exercising your happiness or your spirituality?
Living your life, right.
There's living, how do they say it? So being alive, and then there's being alive, and then there's living. It's really important to we have to work to pay the bills and everything, but it's really easy to just want to work all day and then come home and sleep and do it again the next day. So guess what happens to your relationships? your marriage or your relationship with your family might not get as good because you're not connecting with each other. You're not having that human connection, and that is so important. Way more important than, I mean, I would rather have minimal stuff and have more love in my life than have a bunch of material things and be miserable.
Yep.
A lot of famous people are really miserable because they're constantly on the move. They're constantly doing what other people are telling them to do. And guess what? After having so much money for so long, you've bought almost everything that you could have wanted. So money starts to lose its value. And then guess what? A lot of these actors and singers, they become addicted to drugs because they don't want to feel anymore, because all they feel is stress and depression because they're not giving themselves self-care. Self-care is also really important too.
Well, you start to feel owned when you get paid a lot of money for something, and then you buy expensive things, you finance them, and you're making payments on them. We get so consumed with our things, right? With our cameras and our phones and our TVs and whatever it is,
Our gadgets.
right? We get so in our houses, right, which we need. But what happens is, I would go to bet that you get overextended. So therefore, when you start losing work, you will start doing anything to gain that money back within that realm. Whether it be acting, or entertainer, or whatever it is. You are willing to make a lot of us are willing to make deals for a lot of money. You have a price. And I think it's important to really start to pay attention to, even this is up to any celebrity or any entertainer that's in this situation. That's where that whole selling your soul to the devil comes in, right? That's
because you're selling your whole life to everything.
But it's really look at it. They don't have to be a devil with red horns. It could be a recording party or a recording company or a record company or a film company or
your manager.
Which is what just went on with the Me Too, which was another weird movement. But there was some validity there.
With what?
With the Me Too movement.
So tell me about that.
You don't know about the Me Too?
No.
We'll talk about that another time.
It's a lot.
It was another thing that was kind of, we got to understand astroturfing. Astroturfing is controlling the opposition. So having control of both sides. So if you got an army over here and you got an army over here and they both think they're against each other, but there's one entity controlling it. So any kind of situation, if there was like, say somebody was against oil, right? There's firms that send out somebody that's, for it, or somebody that's against it to infiltrate that person because they really have a pure.
For what?
Like if they wanted to get rid of something like oil, or if they were protesting something that they, like some kind of bad medicine or something that was still being sold to people, right? They create this whole opposition. So I want it, I don't. It's an act, kind of like your reality shows. And they do that to kind of gain people's consent and control it and send it in a certain way. This is what that whole
so that they can gain their own opinion. Like, okay, I'm going to pick this side, or I'm going to pick that side. Then what? You're having, that's another little mini war. You're having conflict with other people.
And people are confused and they're pissed off. And that's what I was, I'm bringing it back because we're going to finish up here in a minute if there's no questions. But hi, Roseanne. Hello. Welcome. But really, like right now with the protests, they probably are real. Right? But there are provocateurs there that are causing more problems, or maybe making what seems to be a peaceful protest, which there does seem to be a lot more of the peaceful protesters than there are the troublemakers and the looters. And I'm not saying just somebody doesn't just naturally turn into a looter from a protester. That's probably happened too. But yes, there are people in all of these protests and all of these movements, if they're big enough and they're enough of a threat to the status quo, they will infiltrate. They will cause problems. Because think about it this way. You have a protest. It's a peaceful protest that has validity, right? A police officer killing somebody for really, for fraud, I think is what it was. That's, if people start fires and start looting, now guess what the government gets to come in and do? Now they get to put more security there, more surveillance, and there's a lot of things kind of waiting in the wings, waiting to be approved to come out and be used on the general public. Another thing, a lot of these surveillance, basically just surveillance technology coming out. they're trying to push out on the public. And
so they can find anybody they wanted to at any time.
which they can already do that, but they want more. They want more.
And some people might think, well, I'm not a big fish. Why me? Well, guess what? One day when they want to target a specific type of people, or for example, so they're testing out ways to put like chips in our arms or wherever, like either a tattoo or a chip, so
head too.
or just somewhere in our body, so that we don't have any power anymore. Like for situations like this, when they say don't leave your house, if you leave your house, guess what? They're gonna come find you, and they're gonna confine you because they're not at that point. They're not having all the power that they want to have. So. There's a lot going on that people are unaware of. So I would say that trending things are probably not the most
careful with the stuff that's really trending. Like the number one trending is usually
red flag.
Yeah.
That shows that there's probably something going on over here.
If everybody's jumping off a cliff over here and it's really popular, they probably shouldn't jump off a cliff. And that's what you're doing.
It's a distraction from somebody
robbing. You are jumping off a cliff onto somebody else's information that you first heard and you're just going with it. And you're being directed. You're being kind of programmed. That's what's happening. You're being hypnotized in a way. And the work that I do, I know that's what it is. I can see it, right? And you can utilize it to manipulate people if you want. And I'm sure people here have been manipulated by psychics or people that are intuitives. And they're still intuitive, but they use it for the wrong reasons. And I think that's what I'm getting at.
They want control of that power that like anybody who tells you this is the way, my way is the only right way, believe me because it'll do you good. You probably shouldn't believe them, because I know for me, I have good intentions with people. And
right. I'm the only way. Every time I hear that, I'm the right, or this is the right way.
Like, I don't associate with any religion. This is just an example. But all religions, they have faith and they believe in a God. And to me, that's important. So whatever that means to you, then find it. So I mean that in everything. Like, people with good intentions for you are not going to tell you specifically what to do and what not to do. They're going to lead you to the water and hope that you drink it. But if you don't, they're not going to be mad.
That's right.
So just be yourself.
Does anybody have any questions? I mean, I know there's not many people watching right now, but we are going to post this up on my page. So if you have any questions, let me know. If not.
And if you have any ideas or topics for the next video, I would love to be able to, for our next video, like if you're watching this and we're not live anymore, comment what you guys would like to know about. We can talk about like astral projecting. We can talk about even hallucinogenics. We can talk about tips on how to enhance your psychic abilities, how to
she has a channel too, so she'll be doing some of these too.
Yeah. And
but please, if you're on here, please like and subscribe, and you'll get a notification for the next one. I'm going to try to start doing these at least once a week. What's that? Sorry.
Question, but
there's a purpose. Yours? Okay, hold on. Let me see. I'm going to put it up there so they can see it. All right, so.
They've been married 13 years.
All right, so. There's a purpose to the way that they have set it up. There are those that don't want our connection to be whole. Fragmented and disassociated is easier to control. Yeah.
Yeah.
And have you ever noticed how many people you try to talk to and they just don't listen? Like, you're talking or they're talking, right? You listen. And then you're talking and they're just like.
And then they're waiting to talk.
I mean, like they didn't, or they want to come. When they come back to talking. That's what we need to all be conscious of that. That's really dangerous. It's unhealthy. And it is dangerous to just disassociate from everything. It's important
because of fear. A lot of us do it from fear.
It's still important to connect.
Be vulnerable.
And really, that's really why I did this show. I want people to connect with themselves, with their higher selves, with that spirituality and that energy that we are all part of, that flow we're all part of, and learn how to utilize it in their life more. But also to connect with others and share that information. Once you find it, share it. Right? So I think we're going to wrap it up for the day. Did you want to close on anything?
I just want to say we're very passionate people, so we can sound a little aggressive sometimes. We're just passionate in what we're talking about. And I also want you guys to know that your opinions do matter. And if there's anything you want to learn about, please let us know. My page is Indigo Goddess Kel on Facebook. We both do individual psychic readings. And even just to be a friend, if you want to talk.
She's a friend on Facebook.
A meditation video, that would be cool. I could do that.
Please like this and share it out. if you're watching this, if you liked it, if it's resonating with you, share it. Facebook, share it everywhere you can. We appreciate it. And thank you very much. Y'all have a great weekend. Have a good Saturday night. Be careful. Be safe. Much love to all of you. Peace. And now it'll take another 5 minutes to end this broadcast to watch. Maybe not. Okay, look at that.